HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
A positive projection for the Bahamian economy. Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us. The International Monetary Fund is projecting year-on-year economic growth through 2016. That's part of an IMF mission report issued Friday following 3 days of talks with financial officials over the last 2 weeks. As Keishla Adderley reports, the upward trend for the economy will also require some demands.
According to the report, GDP growth is projected at 1.9% in 2013, marginally higher than in 2012, and economic growth is expected to pick up from 2014 onward as the U.S. economy strengthens, tourist arrivals rebound, and Bahamar opens, reaching 2.75% in 2015 through 16 before moderating to around 2.5% thereafter. The report also notes that a reduction in stopover tourist arrivals and the completion of a major public infrastructure project is being offset by a pickup in foreign private investment under the large Bahamar project and other small foreign-financed ventures in the tourism sector. The report also commends the government for the implementation of a consolidation program. Authors of the report express confidence that the Bahamas could achieve substantial fiscal savings over the medium term. The report also addresses value-added tax, noting that VAT implementation is the cornerstone of the fiscal consolidation agenda. The report recommends all efforts and resources should be deployed to ensure its timely implementation. Reforms of state-owned enterprises, especially the Water and Sewage Corporation and Bahamas Air, should move forward, the report adds. In this regard, the Ministry of Finance says it concurs with the mission that the program of fiscal reform must be implemented in a timely fashion and that it defines a path for the reduction in the government's debt burden. This process, the Finance Ministry says, will continue to engage private sector stakeholders. Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.
The IMF report also expects the Bahamas to implement the value-added tax next year as projected. Well, already the government is moving full steam ahead to ensure that Bahamians are educated about value-added tax and how the new system will help to transform the current financial standing and impact the overall economy of the country. This week, the Ministry of Finance launched a seminar and a special forum on VAT, attracting a good cross-section from the business community. Financial Secretary John Roll advised participants not to be too concerned about the VAT rate, but look at the financial turnaround necessary and the impact for the country.
Over the longer run, that's going to have positive incentives for businesses in terms of investment decisions, and it's going to have a positive effect on employment and growth in this country. And I shouldn't say over the longer term, over the medium term, over the next 5 years, over the next decade, we will see tremendous returns from that. There will be some cost impact, and prices will go up because it is a net increase in revenue that's at stake here, and we have to be honest and fair. Yes, prices do increase as a part of that process, but you should only be willing and prepared to endure those price increases in the absence of what would be the alternative. And the alternative is that what would be the other way of correcting this fiscal situation, because it has to be corrected, and by definition it requires an adjustment with a cost, but once you've made the adjustment you will get the positive returns longer term. But it has to be corrected, and what we're saying here, the correction comes at a price.
Now, consumer knowledge on VAT will be critical, and that is why the Ministry of Finance is placing significant emphasis on consumer education. Consultant Pauline Peters says while the price impact of VAT is one of the key concerns for consumers, they should also be aware of those companies charging VAT fees. She also notes the importance of holding on to receipts.
It is important that you get those receipts so that you are able to see how much VAT you've actually paid on a particular item. We expect our consumers to be very, very knowledgeable about what is actually happening. So you are supposed to be very vigilant, monitor what is happening, get your receipts, and be mindful what are the items that have actually attracted VAT on your receipt and how much VAT you would have actually paid. We said earlier you would be able to claim your allowance on imports, and be very mindful that unregistered businesses, businesses beneath the threshold, businesses that do not display a registration certificate, business that may be supplying exempt services such as medical services, financial services, etc., cannot charge you VAT.
Shifting to news from the crime beat, an off-duty police officer among 3 others listed as critical tonight following a shooting at a Fox Hill nightclub. We are told the constable, along with 2 other males, were leaving the club around 1 o'clock this morning when a lone gunman opened fire on them. The 3 received gunshot injuries to the upper body and were rushed to the hospital. They are all listed in serious condition. Now, 2 other males are also in hospital after they were shot last night. One of them is said to be 23-year-old Cornelius Roberts, who was wanted for the 2013 Whit Monday double murder, and triple shooting that occurred at Kemp Road. Roberts is detained in serious condition and under heavy police guard. That shooting occurred around 11 o'clock on Cowman Lane in the Malcolm Road area. Police say the 2 men were walking in the vicinity when 2 occupants of a white Premier got out and opened fire on them. One of the victims was hit to the upper body and the other in the leg. Both of them are listed in serious condition in hospital. An abrupt relocation of the prosecution's department from Bank Lane to the Magistrates Court complex on Nassau Street isn't sitting well with officials of the Police Staff Association. While the intention is to cut down on the waiting time for dockets to arrive at the court, PSA Chairman Inspector Dwight Smith believes the unorganized move is doing otherwise. Then there's also the concern about adequate accommodations for the prosecutors, who are all being housed in the section of the complex where night court takes place.
It doesn't speak too well for us as an organization because, again, we boast on the professionalism that we have. And there should be a smooth transition into what have happened here at prosecution. When you take over close to 60-something officers and relocate them, this about with civilian staff, which occupy also 14 office space for the prosecutors, you frustrate the system. And when I say frustrate the system, I mean that prosecutors are now operating out of their vehicles because there's no space. They actually get files before. Is that something that we would want to do?
Inspector Smith says they've already asked the police commissioner to address their concerns to the relevant authorities. Meantime, the vacant offices in the former police prosecution building in Bank Lane are reportedly expected to become the intended site of 5 Supreme Courts.
I feel that we will be next, and I think that's coming. We understand that will come, and I guess that would not be a problem. But we're making the preparation now, and I don't think it would be inconducive, even if it was not next, conducive of all that construction work going above overhead and all these various other things, because we don't have a disruption of our phone services. We have some disruption of our cable services already, so that would have set us back. So of course we are taking a better approach and looking at that and trying to also look for some place that where the Police Staff Association would actually be housed.
As the fight against crime continues, the Ministry of National Security will also be seeking input from students. You can join ZNS Television and Radio Network this Monday for a live broadcast of a special crime forum for high school students. The forum will be held at Sir Kendall Isaacs Gym, featuring the ideas and suggestions of high school students in the fight against crime. That broadcast begins at 9 a.m. on Monday, live on the ZNS Network.